Making customs in this community can be a very fun yet also thought-provoking hobby. Many different tactics can present themselves, and here are some that I've picked up over the years. This is Mr. Scrapyard's top 5 techniques for custom making. With any luck, these will help you guys better understand how easy this hobby can be when you know what to use.
I chiseled it!
Putt is practically your Swiss Army knife for adding extra components to an engine. It's very simple to use and at the same time very precise. When sculpting, it's important not to start straight away. After kneading the two molds together, Putt takes 4 to 5 hours to dry completely, so wait for around 3 before you start sculpting, as it's much easier to do so when the component is semi-hard rather than freshly soft out the box. Now obviously you want to at least make a start right as you're applying it, and for this I'd recommend gently marking out the shape you want with a craft knife. But for full-on carving, working with a semi-hard surface prevents the structure from curving and crumbling out of shape. Putt is just as essential for making customs as cardboard is for making buildings.
I chiseled it!
Once you finish sculpting a component, the next stage is to smooth it out with Tamiya Putty. Unlike Putt, this stuff will take 3 times as much patience to properly work with, as it's a 24-hour wait before you can start sanding it smooth. The wait is definitely worth it though, as the end result can seriously lift the final look of a custom. And additionally, it's also great for filling in unsightly gaps when needed. Much like masking tape, as said before, putty can help hide imperfections, making your customs look cleaner as a result, when properly sanded down of course. Presentation is the key to good content, and the better your characters look, the better your videos will look.
I chiseled it!
Paper clips are great for handrails and pipework, the latter of which doesn't just apply for customs. They come in sizes both big and small, and depending on the scale or brand you work with, this double deal is more than welcome. Granted, if they're coloured paper clips, you might have to strip them, but trust me, it makes all the difference not worrying about chunks of rubber coming off if you do. Bending them to either shaped or straight lengths can be frustrating and time consuming, but also therapeutic and precise, as you have to get the shape just right if not perfect. Paper clips and also cotton buds by extension are good for proper modelling too, for they can act as great brake or steam pipes. So if anyone's watching this who models in that area of the hobby, be sure to keep that in mind too. As for toy brands, however, I find that paper clips are fantastic for giving your engines whistles. Fair warning though, sizing them and sticking them to an engine will be extremely fiddly, so if you're going to do this technique, here's how you go about it. Cut out the size you need, making sure your hand is inside a box so as to not lose the piece. Carefully position the whistle with tweezers and get it as straight as you possibly can. Be very careful when painting too, as you don't want to accidentally hit the windows and go through the trouble of redoing them. Because trust me, windows that aren't circular are a pain in the fucking ass. Having plenty of props at your disposal is one thing, but giving them the finer details is what really makes them stand out, and furthermore makes you stand out as a creator.
I chiseled it!
When doing lining, paintbrushes are very finicky things to use. Paint pens, however, are way less hassle. Why bother lining up masking tape, putting it in position and making sure it's actually stuck to the engine when you can just use a steady hand and cotton bud instead? Or, if you're doing bordering, you can use both pen and brush. If the pen starts to run out when doing the black, you could carefully go over it again with a thin brush. And not only are paint pens good for lining lettering and numbers, but they're also very handy for doing faces, specifically the eyes. Before paint pens, the way I used to do the faces on my engines is I'd paint it completely white first for the eyes and then go over the rest of the face with the standard grey. Honestly, it seems like a lot, and it's way easier to just do the eyes last, considering you don't have to worry about dodging them with the grey paint. Patience is a virtue, as the old saying goes, and especially when it comes to liveries.
I chiseled it!
Now, I'm cheating a bit here, as what's about to be said is 3 techniques. However, from my experience, they tie into each other well enough to be one. First off, stirrers. This method falls under 2 categories, as it can be used to make parts for a custom and also add support to a custom, or buildings for that matter. They're good for making miscellaneous stuff too, such as a wooden shed, corners and walls for stock, and even flooring for close-up models. And depending on the size of custom you're making, you can just cut the stirrer in half to better suit the space you're working with. Second is toothpicks. These can act as components for various things, ranging from replacement couplings to cab details, corners for huts or shacks, and even, from Jackson's experience, go subscribe, smaller scale paint pens for text. Personally, I've yet to properly do the latter, as it's exceptionally hard to get right. The results will never come out perfect, so it's important to take great care when trying this technique out. And lastly, matchsticks. These are fantastic for scratch building your own stock, as they look just like planks. They're also just thick enough for you to get the right control when gluing them together, unlike coffee stirrers at times. Not only that, but they're great for modifying bolsters too, seeing as Ertl didn't do the sides to the fullest. All three of these help improve your abilities, further creating a wider perspective of what can work, and the more options you have at your disposal, the more innovative you'll become with your projects. Just like last time, I hope you found this video useful, and if you have any further questions, you know where to ask. Be sure to check out my Instagram to see the things I make before they appear in my videos, ranging from showcases of customs to build logs of scratch builds, link below. And, as always, I hope you all enjoyed. You've been watching Scrapyard Studios, and I will see you soon.